Hello, good evening, and welcome to another Tech Focus 24 opinion. You know, the first time we did this, we talked about SIM swap and the fact that people are doing SIM swap and they are stealing people's money in their banks. Now, the story we told was mainly about EcoBank. Okay, but we also know that it is not only in EcoBank that these things are happening. So somebody swap somebody's SIM card at MTN and then they use it to steal somebody's money at EcoBank. We have also gotten to know that this is not the only case, but there are many more. And since we did this story, other people have called us and they are giving us information. And so we are piecing all that information together to bring you a part 2 of the SIM swap fraud story that we did. But today, we are going to talk about SIM registration. SIM registration is going on in Ghana now. And there are certain challenges happening. But let's begin from somewhere. You know, in all the way back in 2010, 2011, we did SIM registration in this country. Now, the reason why we have to do another one is that one was badly flawed. Why was it flawed? Because right from the start, the issue that came up with that is that we didn't have a central ID verification system in this country. So we couldn't verify the ID and the ID cards that people were using to register their SIMs. So somebody could be using a stolen ID, somebody could be using a fake ID even. But when they go to register their SIM, there is no system for the telco to verify whether the person using the ID is the owner of the ID, number one, and then whether the ID itself isn't even genuine at all. You see, so we and it is not as if these problems were not raised. I remember telcos raised it, CSOs raised it, even journalists like myself and others, we raised it. But of course, we have a regulator who, when they take a decision, it's as if anybody else that is saying anything against it's the person has got some exterior motive. So they insisted, and in insisting that we go ahead, we went ahead, even though we didn't have a centralized instant verification system, ID verification system. I'm told that the telcos lost about $25 million. At the time, $25 million is a lot. As a matter of fact, even today, $25 million is still a lot. But if the regulator had just listened and done what is right, make sure that we had a proper ID system before we think about doing SIM registration, like we wouldn't have wasted our time. Because what happened? Because people used all kinds of fake IDs, now telcos and their agents also began to register SIM cards in mass, and they pre-registered them in mass, like thousands upon thousands. Okay, and then so if I went to a vendor or even a distributor to buy a SIM card, to get a SIM card, instead of they registering mine for me, if I go and I say actually I want it fast, so then they can sell me a pre-registered SIM with somebody's name I don't know. Somebody's name I don't know, and people are using it. But the challenge was that if then something happens to your SIM and you go to the telco, they will tell you it is not your name on it, so they cannot help you. Of course, some of those SIMs also landed in the hands of the fraudsters we call SIM box fraudsters. So they were using it to defraud a lot of people. And what is SIM box fraud? SIM box fraud is when they put these SIM cards in SIM boxes, all right, and then when international calls come in, they use those SIMs to receive the call, and then they get paid the international fee, and then the call terminates on the telco's platform as a local call. So the telco only gets the telco only gets that small fee, and then so it means that the taxes that the government is also going to get from that is as small as charging from a local fee. So that was the major problem. Okay, so fast forward, the regulator didn't listen to the ID the ID verification issue that was raised. So fast forward to 2022, we said that we were going to use the Ghana card alone. Remember that when we didn't have verification system, IDs like voter ID was being used, passport was being used, NHIS card was being used, even SNIT card and stuff. They were using all kinds of IDs. But this time we said the Ghana card. And why the Ghana card? Because the Ghana card is by and large is robust. Robust because they have captured your passport details there if you have a passport. They've captured your driver's license details there if you have a driver's license. They've captured your voter ID details there if you have one. They've captured your SNIT card in there if you have one. They've even captured your NHIS card there if you have one. Beyond that, they've also captured your fingerprint, which is very, 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 very important. Fingerprint there, and then they also have your digital address there. So it makes the Ghana card unique, one of a kind. ID card. And so the database that is being kept by the National Identification Authority, which is under the Ministry of Interior, of course, there's a reason why it is under Ministry of Interior, because collecting such data is a security matter. It's a security matter. So because you are collecting all the ID data that you can find on someone, including biometrics. So they put it under a security, not just any other ministry, but under. So that database there, we said is robust to the point that even our vice president described it as the best infrastructure, better than 1,000 even overhead bridges. 1,000 overhead bridges, even they say that the Ghana card alone is better than that. So it tells you how important the Ghana card is to our development. And so the insisting, when the minister insisted, a lot of people were against it. But people like myself, we actually supported it, because I said that if you say we should use passport, the passport details are on the Ghana card. If you say we should use voter ID, the voter ID details are on the Ghana. So just use the Ghana card and let's go. Of course, there have been arguments against it, and some of the arguments are beginning to hold now. But so we use the Ghana card. But this is the strange thing. The very Minister of Communications and the NCA who told us that we need to use only the Ghana card. Only the Ghana card, because it has got everything, including our biometric data. This same minister and NCA told us that for the SIM registration, they need to capture another biodata. Ghanaians, listen, this the minister and the regulator who insisted on we using only the Ghana card, and their reason was that because the Ghana card is robust. Why? Because it has got the biometric data, which is including your fingerprint there. Now they told us that they need to pick another biodata, which is your fingerprint. That is the strangest turn of event that you can find. And so here's the deal. After introducing the system, so the system of registering the SIM, they introduced a system where they gave us a short code, 404 *404#, where you, the person, you do the linking of your Ghana card to your SIM card by yourself. Then, because they introduced a step 2, which is capturing your biodata again, then they went to develop an app. They made their private sector partner develop an app, an application, and a mobile application, and which they gave to the telcos to now use to capture our biodata. Again, the same people who said that the Ghana card is okay because the biodata is there, now they are capturing another set of biodata using an app. Ladies and gentlemen. And here is what is wrong with that. In using that app, they are using the full camera. They are using the full camera on that app to then capture to capture the upper part of our palm. And they are saying that is supposed to be a fingerprint. Okay? But when you go to NIE, when you go to NIE, when they are going to capture your fingerprint, there is a fingerprint reader there that you put your finger on and you press. So they capture your actual fingerprint. So when they started this thing where they are capturing this picture, NIA came out clearly and said that they cannot verify, they cannot vouch for the integrity of that biometric data. They cannot because they cannot verify it against what they have. But again, the Minister of Communications and NCA insisted that we must go ahead and do it. And so, at some point, we realized that there were a lot of queues at the various registration centers. Why? Because of stage 2. Because if it was left with stage 1 alone, like once we link the card to our Ghana card at our homes, and we end there, we wouldn't need to go to the telcos offices to go and say we are going to do another stage 2 for there to be queues. They wouldn't have needed to have developed that app in the first place, and they wouldn't have needed to go and join queues and then waste our time. Okay, so because of the stage 2, because of the stage 2, now they are saying they came back and said that because it's wasting time, the telcos and the NCA and all the stakeholders met, and they decided that okay, so they are now going to employ agents. Now we all know in this country that telcos agents, these mobile money agents, whatever, they a lot of mobile money fraud. And remember, let me say this, remember that one of the major things why we needed to do SIM card registration, the first one was because there was SIM box fraud and they needed to fight it. And so that's why they came up with the SIM registration. Now this one, they said that because there is mobile money fraud, and we know it is not a secret that a lot of the mobile money fraud involve telco agents. Now you brought these same agents in, now give them a phone that they should capture our biodata. Why? Because your state 2 is wasting people's time in queues and causing frustration. So because of state 2, again, we have to now go and employ agents whom we don't know who their security background. Remember that the biodata capture at NIA was given to NIA because NIA is under Ministry of Interior, and so the people doing it, most probably their security backgrounds have been checked. So they know the people who are doing it. You give these things to agents who we know sometimes are part of mobile money fraud, and then that they should capture our biodata. That's number one. It is the same because of this same state 2. Minister of Communications and NCA developed a self-service app. A self-service app where you and anybody in Ghana can now go after they link their card to their SIM card, their Ghana card to their SIM card with 404. Now they can go into this app, pay 5 cedis. Listen, pay 5 cedis. And in a lot of the cases, people have reported that they ended up paying 20 cedis before, because you do it several times. The system doesn't refund your money. You do it several times before it goes through, and pay money, and then capture their own biodata using camera to capture their own biodata. I mean, if you do this, you've opened the flag, and you see when they launched that app, the minister prided himself that now with smiles that we have created a job. We have created another kind of job for people where people can now register for other people. Like they go and sit somewhere that will help you to register, and then they'll make money from it. She was priding herself, and I'm surprised and utterly shocked that a person of her level, she couldn't realize she's opening the floodgate for the SIM register, because she said that they are now building a robust SIM register. They said they were capturing our biodata, another biodata, in order to build a robust SIM register. And you are now opening the floodgate for anybody to just register SIMs and enter the SIM register. She didn't realize that she was opening the floodgate for fraudsters, for the whole SIM register to be breached. Okay, so that is a problem we have. It is because of state 2. It's because of state 2 that we have to employ agents that we don't know who their background. It's because of state 2 that we now have to bring in what do you call it? Self registration, service, what do you call it? App. And it's because of this same state 2. That's where we are here. We are today. Because now people are defrauding us. They are using our card, they're linking the Ghana cards to their SIMs, and they are capturing biodata that we can't even verify. Because up to now, NIA have said that they cannot verify the biodata that NC and what do you call it? MOC is speaking. And they are storing that data at NITA. They are storing that data on their common platform built by Kenny GVG at NITA. So the question Ghanaians should be asking is that biodata they are capturing, what are they doing with it? Because I can tell you on authority that biodata they are capturing is not contributing anything to the SIM registration that is going on. Because the SIM registration that is going on, it's basically the stage 1. Basically the stage 1. That when you go and you capture your, you do the linking to your SIM card. That is it. That is it. Because that biodata they are capturing. Because otherwise, listen, if stage 2 is important, how come somebody use somebody's Ghana card, and then after they use that person's Ghana card, then they use their own, what do you call it, fingerprint? They capture their own fingerprint for stage 2, and yet the SIM gets activated for them. How come when they are capturing their own fingerprint, which is not in line with the fingerprint on the Ghana card, how the system doesn't flag it? If they claim that their register they are building is so robust, how come the system doesn't flag it? But they go ahead and they register, and some of them are using it to defraud people, and that's how come people are now able to swap people's SIMs. Because when they make a call to a telco and they ask for a SIM swap, it begins to because of the ID on their card. Sometimes the telcos cannot tell that the person calling is actually not the owner of the Ghana card, because even when they check the person's number, they can see that the ID on it is the number of the person who's asking for the swap. So it is the state 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it is this business of state 2 that has opened the floodgate for people to get SIMs to be activated for them, and they are doing what they are doing. So here's the deal. Look, I believe that the minister and NCA, they must be bold enough and magnanimous enough to come out and say, look, we are goofed. State 2 is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, because of state 2 you now have 2 apps and you are paying the vendor. You are paying the vendor every time. Anytime you are using the 2, you are paying the vendor. State 2 is wasting our time. It is the one that caused the queues. It's the one that caused us to go and get an app. It's the one that caused us to employ agents. It's the one that caused us to have a self-service app, which is causing us the problem that we are having today. So state 2 is just wasting everybody's time, and it's doing us more harm than good. State 2 is doing us more harm than good. And it is about time the minister and the NCA are magnanimous enough to admit that they have failed this country, because and of course, let me add this, that if upon all that they do as state 2, even the data they are collecting as state 2 cannot be verified against NIA database. So what are they doing? What is the purpose? So what benefit is state 2 to us? They should come and tell us what benefit is state 2 to us. It is not benefiting us in any way. So here is the EdTech Focus 24 position. Look, we must scrap the state 2 of the SIM registration. We must scrap it. Like, be bold and scrap it. And I believe that when we do, number one, it will save us a lot of money. Why would it save us a lot of money? Because the telcos will now stop all the agents that they have employed, that they are paying to do the state 2 SIM registration for them. They will stop paying them for SIM registration. That's number one. Number two, we will stop paying the vendors for the apps, because we don't need the self-service app. We will not need the state 2 app. So the vendors that we are paying for the apps, we have to just throw the app somewhere and stop paying them. If we have paid them already, we have wasted that money already. If that money is wasted already, but at least if it's something that is like a continuous, like we pay them according to how many SIMs are being registered with the app, then we stop paying them. Then we stop paying them. Number two, we will stop wasting everybody's time, because state 2 is wasting people's time for nothing. Once I link my card to my SIM card to my Ghana card, my SIM should be activated. Why do I have to go find time again, go to my telco and do it, or now go to the app and go and pay 5 cedis? You are wasting everybody's time and wasting everybody's money. Number three, it is the tool that is opening the floodgate for people to defraud the SIM register. And so, trust you me, if we continue the way we are going, tomorrow another government will come and say we need to do another SIM register, and guess what? We are going to start paying money again. We are going to start wasting time again. This whole process will be started again, because regulators and government, they don't listen. Once they set the amount to do something, it is only God who knows how come they after them, they do not listen to reasoning. And I suspect that this is the 2 things that they are doing. It's either number one, they are catching this biodata for their own parochial use, whether it is political, whether it is for business in the future, it is on today. But as Ghanaians, we must speak up for these things to stop. Number two, it may also be that it is a plan to sort of like trigger crowdfunding, because you remember that they are charging 5 cedis if you go and do self-service, 5 cedis. And I also understand that when we go to the telcos to also register, do the bio capture at the telco, they are also charging the telcos 5 cedis for every SIM that goes through their app. So it's sort of like a smart way of trying to do raise money to fund the SIM registration. You know, I mean, if that's what it is, then tell us. But don't stop wasting our time. Stop wasting our time that we should go and do state 2, because state 2 is not contributing anything to the SIM registration that is going on. And they're just wasting everybody's time. And trust me, look at what is going on. Now they need us. They need us to come and report to them, because they cannot tell. They claim that the SIM register is going to be robust. That SIM register is not robust today, it's not robust. It is not robust at all. Now they need us to come and report to them anytime the system is defrauded. That's why they are going to create that short code. I'm told that short code is going to be, I think, *402# or something. I'm not too sure, but that's what I'm told. They are going to be creating. They say they'll be launching it at the end of this month. They should have created that short code right from the start. Because if you say you are building a robust SIM card, you should take proactive measures, not reactive measures. You don't wait for the register to be breached before you now say that, okay, now let me go and get a short code to come in. You should have done it and given it to us. Regularly we'll be checking. So anytime we check and then there is a problem, then we'll know. And secondly, too, I'm also adding. I think that they should add another line, which is that anytime a SIM is added to any of our numbers, they should make sure that the telco send an immediate, a real-time message to us. In addition, and they need us when we do the check. They need us, me and you. They need us to come and report to them and say, "Oh, this thing number has been added to my line. I don't know who this is." Before they can know, say they can tell, say that the thing has been prepared. As things are now, forget it. The state 2 data they are capturing, it is not helping us in any way to prevent the system from being breached. They should leave it as stage 1. If the system is breached, then we will go and report to them. Because whether stage 1 or stage 2, still it's the same thing. So why are they wasting our time? Whether we leave it as stage 1 or we add stage 2, it's the same thing. They will still need us to come and report. So what is the stage 2 for? It is just waste of time and waste of money, and maybe somebody's parochial interest for capturing that data for whatever reason. So guys, this is where I want to end it today. Maybe tomorrow or the other time, if I talk about the SIM swap fraud, we will see the link between the flawed state 2 and then the SIM swap that is going on. So we'll come back again and you hear from us. God bless.